guess without sounding too offensive, I don't think you're what most people would expect from a Senior United Party candidate. You've got a very a background that's very different to any of our other candidates. Can you tell us a bit about your background, particularly, I guess, your time in the British military?
Certainly. Well, first of all, I'm an Australian. I was born in Sydney, brought up in country Victoria, and I failed my HSC the first time around. I worked as a council labourer for 6 months, and then I decided I wanted to go back to school. I passed my HSC, I went into university. I dropped out, so I was probably an unsettled youth, and I worked as a brickies labourer. I then pursued my interest in languages and I moved to Europe. I had no intention of going anywhere near the United Kingdom. I lived in the south of France and learned to speak French fluently. I considered joining the French Foreign Legion, but in fact I ended up in the British Army. Before that I worked in a geriatric hospital, which was quite a humbling experience. When I joined the British Army, I went into the parachute regiment. First of all, it was as a soldier, and then I was selected for a commission, and I was trained at Sandhurst. Had leadership drummed into us, and this is something that I think is sadly lacking today in Canberra, and the qualities of leadership which were absolutely hammered into us. I was then commissioned into the parachute regiment. I served there for 3 years, and I later went to 22 SAS, where I served as a troop commander, and they really were formative, wonderful years, and I think my military career has made me what I am today, and it has given me everything I have today. After I left the Army, I worked as a contractor, a specialist contractor in the Middle East, on very interesting paramilitary type tasks, and as a security consultant. And then I returned to Australia. I'd gone for 3 years. I stayed away for 15. When I returned, when I'd gone, I had nothing. When I returned, I had an Irish wife, British-Irish wife. I had an English baby daughter who'd been born in England, 2 Staffordshire Bull Terriers, and I returned to Sydney. I set up my own business in Sydney, and which was successful despite my inexperience, but also despite the recession we had to have, which Paul Keating gave to us. And having said that, I was successful. I then worked also in Asia, 3 years running a company there. So I think I've got a very wide life experience, and certainly a lot more than the front bench of the Labour Party and the majority of the Liberal Party, and indeed